let me record, and then I'm going to screen share, and we're going to go, maybe if I can find it. There we go. Okay. Well, apparently this picture can't be displayed. So there's that. And that's just awesome. So I don't know what's going on there, but welcome to Team Nourish Team Call. It is Thursday, the 25th of March, which is crazy. But I feel like I say that every week because time is a thief. But weekly top 5, congratulations. We're always going to start off with some recognition and shouting out our amazing team because you guys, we are crushing March and there's so much more time to be had. We have about a week left in March. There's so many more people out there that are ready to be helped. There's people that are just desperate for what we have. I mean, that's the reality of it. But before we get into that, I want to shout out our weekly top 5. If you're new to the call or new to the team, just know that the weekly top 5 is made up of people who are enrolling people with challenge packs, helping people find a product that fits their need, or helping people enroll as a coach. It goes into my assistant's brain who does a math formula, pops out a weekly top 5. Congratulations to Amanda Harold in our top spot this week. Congratulations, girl. Congratulations to Michelle King coming in at number 2, Renee Koth at number 3, Carrie Summers at number 4, and Amy White at number 5. So congratulations, ladies. And congratulations to those on the Success Club board. You guys know, if you're brand new here, Success Club 5 or 3 and above. I don't know why this says, oh yeah, it is 5 and above. 5 and above, helping 3 people. I need to get her to change that because I personally like helping 3 people. It's 3 lives or more. Club means that you are moving yourself forward, you're moving your business forward, everything is moving in a good direction for you. That is the benchmark that Beachbody has set, and that's, in my experience of running this business for 7 years, that's a pretty darn good goal to shoot for. And we're going to talk about a little bit more about why that is coming up tonight too. But if you are enrolled in Success Club 5 or more, you do get free leads from Beachbody every single month, which just means that if somebody gets on Beachbody On Demand, or downloads the Beachbody On Demand app and signs up for a free account, you might get them as a customer if you are enrolled, which means you have 2 coaches underneath of you and you are Success Club qualified 5 or more. If you are Success Club 10 or more, which means you've helped 5 people in that month and you are enrolled, you get paid leads, which means when somebody orders Shakeology randomly, when somebody randomly orders a challenge pack, you get both the commission and the customer for that. So that has been my personal minimum for, I think I'm at like 32 months now consecutively. And I'm not stopping yet, because if Beachbody is going to give me free people, I want to take advantage of it. So congratulations to those of us on the Success Club board, myself at SC13, Jamie Runner at SC10. Way to go. I'm just so proud of you. I can't even stand it. Emma Shaw at SC8, which means she's helped 4 people. Carrie Summers at SC6. She's helped 3. Amanda Harold at SC6. Mara Chester at SC3, Allie Lamb at SC2, Jennifer Lotes at SC2, Kendall Phones at SC2, Haley Zarita at SC2, Renee Koth at SC2, Megan Broski at SC2, and Michelle King at SC2. Like I said, you guys, if y'all are not where you want to be Success Club wise, there are still 6-7 days, I don't know, I'm not good at counting, in the month. So next Wednesday is the last day of the month, I think. So be sure you get in Success Club. I promise you there are people out there to help. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that tonight too. Some social media shout outs. You guys know I've been doing this for about a month now. And it's one of the highlights of my week is finding people and seeing people posting on social media about their journey. So congratulations to Carrie. I wanted to especially shout her out this week because I have noticed a dramatic change in the content that Carrie is sharing. She's sharing a lot about coaching, you guys. Take note of what Carrie's doing. She caused me to level up. I saw her posting about coaching, and I'm like, dang, sis, I need to be doing the same. I love that she's spinning lots of different things and tagging on coaching to it. So she's talking about loving to travel, being a small town girl and not getting to travel to fancy locations, and that coaching has opened up that opportunity for her. Really, really great stuff. So be sure to look out for what she's doing, because she's obviously doing something right. Megan Eden, who is one of our newer coaches on the team, I absolutely loved this. I say I loved it, but I also wanted to like offer a little critique here. Constructive criticism. I love her vulnerability in this post. I love that she's talking about being discouraged by looking at the scale. I love that she flipped that around. What I hate about this post is that she's apologizing for it. I hate that she's apologizing, that she's offending people by, like, y'all might get tired of hearing about my fitness journey. Sorry if I offend anybody. No, do not be sorry. Do not be sorry about showing up in a space where people desperately need help. This week, just like lots of weeks in the last year, I have been enraged by the state of our country and the things that people think are healthy and the things that people are very, very misguided by. And so I actually would appreciate if we would all just stop apologizing for promoting healthy behaviors. Like, do it recklessly, do it without shame, like get out there and promote health, because the second I think people are like doing the healthy thing, then some crap like Krispy Kreme comes up and I'm like, nope. And we're back to square one. So do not ever apologize for promoting healthy behaviors. I don't care if people get sick of hearing it. It's been 7 years. I'm not quitting anytime soon. If anything, I'm probably going to get a little louder. So just so you know. And Tabitha Carver, just wanted to shout her out. This is a video still, and I'm sorry that it's maybe not the most flattering video still of her, but I just took the screenshot so I didn't forget about it. But Tabitha went live about her ultimate reset on her Facebook page, and I loved it. I was so proud of her. She explained why she's doing it. She explained what it is. She shared that she was scared to do it. She's scared that it, like, she shared all of the vulnerableness, and I loved the response from her friends and people that follow her on social media. I love that now people are watching her specifically for this. She and I have talked a lot about this program, the ultimate reset specifically, and how it's kind of scared her, and I just am so proud of her for going live. So I know Tabitha isn't on the call right now, but I'm just really, really, really proud of her for doing that. So I wanted to shout her out. Before we roll into the meat of tonight's call, a couple of announcements. I told you guys I would be updating you every time I got an update on our Team Nourished Summit, and we have picked a location. So we are going to be in Austin, Texas. If you've never been to Austin, Texas, super, super cool town. Going to be really, really fun. July 14th through the 18th. Location is Austin, Texas. We are still working on accommodations, if it's going to be a house for our team or if we're going to piggyback on Together Rising and do like a block of hotel rooms. But I will be sure to let you guys know as more information about that comes out. But just know that it's Austin, Texas, and I'm super stoked about that. Couple of other announcements, actually a lot of other announcements. So if you're taking notes or you might want to take a screenshot real quick, you might want to do that because we have a lot going on. Salted caramel launched on Tuesday. I feel like maybe because last year it was like less exciting of a flavor for a lot of people. This year, the launch has not been as big as I expected it to be. I personally bought a box because I want to taste the reformulation. I like caramel, and I was disappointed last year that it had such a sharp flavor. So I definitely bought some. But even last year, even though it wasn't probably my favorite flavor in the entire world, what I did really like it over top of was I made magic shell out of it. If you guys have never made magic shell out of chocolate Shakeology or caramel Shakeology, probably wouldn't do it out of any of the other flavors, to be very honest. It might be kind of weird, but you melt just a little bit, like maybe a teaspoon, or like, I don't know, no more than, I feel like a tablespoon is a lot, like a teaspoon and a half of coconut oil. You melt that in the microwave, and then you just put like, I don't even put a half a scoop in there. I probably just put about a quarter of a scoop or something like that in the bowl, mix it up until it's kind of liquidy. I pour it over top of frozen Cocoa Whip, and it makes like a magic shell, like chocolate magic shell, like the one you would squirt. Really, really delicious. So that's what I'm going to be using it for, just so you know. Next announcement is we have the Business of Coaching webinar Monday, March 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern. That is our like what is coaching kind of call. We're calling it the business of coaching because I am inviting people who are, whether they're discount coaches, whether they are just plain customers in our boot camp, people who I've been talking to throughout the month about coaching and what that is and how they can make an income on it. So it's going to be a webinar. I've hosted one before. We're going to do this every single month, the last Monday of the month, just so you know. So that is March 29th. So please be inviting to that. Think of a list of people, 5 or 10 people who you think would actually be really good at coaching. And invite them to that. So the next thing I want you to put on your calendar, and honestly, this is like huge, 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 huge. Shaun T, we have an exclusive call with Shaun T, you guys. We get this because we are an elite team. If this was last year, we don't get access to these kind of calls. We would have to piggyback off of another elite team. I would not have gotten to pick this date. I would not have gotten to be a part of the group of people who is putting this on. So I'm really, really, really excited. It is going to be a private call with Shaun T Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That is 1 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. What else am I going to say about that? Come with your questions. Make sure that you have a question because you have access to like literally Shaun T by himself. He's going to be talking all about Let's Get Up. I'm going to see if Cece will either pop into our team page. I'll probably just have her do a live video on our team page. She is in the test group for Let's Get Up, and I really want her to share some of her test group experience with us. So really excited about that. Skipping ahead, Let's Get Up, the new Shaun T program does start on April 19th. So mark that in your calendars. It is going to be a VIP launch. So just like every other launch we've had, you are going to have to purchase access to it. It will not be out on Beachbody on demand, I think, until the first of the year. So you're going to want to do it with us. And then the last announcement is we do have a Super Saturday. It's a virtual Super Saturday, April the 10th. But if you are in Hawaii, I'm actually going to be inviting everybody over to my house that morning so we can do the Super Saturday training, so we can do the live workout. It is going to be a preview of the Shaun T Let's Get Up. So I'm going to have snacks and I'm going to have the training here at my house. So that is Saturday, April the 10th. So hopefully you guys can come. And if you want to host your own, I'm not going to tell you not to, because I am ready for all the events, all of them. Okay, social media tip, well, actually, let me check the, before we do this, let me check the chat really quick. Tabitha did an amazing job. Yes, I didn't get the first caramel one, but I got this one. Good. I'm excited to try it, Amy. And Jamie is so excited about the new Shaun T program. I know you are. I am too. And honestly, I was telling Amanda today, Zumba dance is kind of a one-off sort of thing for me. I'm like, I'll take a class here and there, but it's not like the thing I want to do, you know? But watching Cece do it, you guys, if y'all don't watch her, her Instagram is Soulshine Mom. She, like I said, she's sharing her workouts. It looks so fun. And the joy that it is bringing her every single day in a really difficult time in her life has just been awesome. So it actually makes me really excited to do it. Okay, back to screen sharing. So let's see. Oh, hold on. Why is that there? Hold, please. Boop. Okay, here we go. Can you, Jamie, can you see where it says social media tip, all that stuff? Yes, thumbs up. No, yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. My son keeps.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. No worries. My computer was being weird. So I wanted to make sure everybody could see the screen because I could not. Okay. So every single week, I'm going to be bringing you guys a social media tip. And this one is coming to you from a girl named Bonnie. Go follow her. She's freaking amazing. Bonnie RZM is her Instagram. She exists solely to help you know how to stand in photos and sit in photos. And I freaking love her tutorials. She has taught me so much about aesthetics of taking a photo. So if you feel like I think her whole thing is about like, I don't think I'm photogenic. They told me I'm not photogenic. And so she created an entire business showing people how to be more photogenic. And I freaking love it. It's not about being fake. It's literally the difference between putting your hand here and putting your hand here sometimes. So I think it's very interesting when people talk about the shallowness of social media and the fakeness of it. Yes, there is fakeness for sure out there. Standing with your leg propped up versus your leg off to the side does not make it fake. It's still you. It's just a more aesthetically pleasing view of you, which is what people in real life typically see. But it's when we get behind a camera that we get awkward and we slouch and we stand there and we do the exact same pose every single time. So I love that she's showing people the simple things you can do to just change the way your body is positioned to get a much better photo. So she's got a swimsuit guide going on right now where she's doing a series of them in swimsuits and stuff like that. As somebody who lives in Hawaii, I am often on a beach in a swimsuit, and I don't enjoy looking like this because that's typically what I look like in a swimsuit photo. So if all you do is sit up on your knees and look out, you get such a different view of a photo. And again, this is what the people who are around you are more likely seeing than the photo that you took. So if you're going to be taking a photo, you might as well take a good one, right? And don't ever be shy about asking somebody for a photo. Michelle King, I saw that you, yeah, I think it was your hubby was like, photo credit, please. And you're like, you don't get a photo credit when I have to ask you to take a photo. I'm like, wanted to clap. I tell Matt that all the time. I'm like, no photo credit. Because if I have to ask you and look at them and I'm like, none of those are okay, and I have to tell you, you don't get a photo credit. I get photo credit for excellent photography. Okay, buddy. So cracked me up. Don't ever be afraid to, because people just don't think about it. One of my really good friends here, Stephanie, I call her my Instagram husband. She's not here anymore, but she's the best because she doesn't need me to ask. She's just like, okay, stand there. No, put your leg up like that. Okay, yep, you'll like that one. Or I'll stand and she's like, no, 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 you're not going to like that. And I'm like, that's the kind of friend you need, man. You need a friend who will tell you like, no, you're going to hate that one. Keep going, like move, do something else because that's not working. And she's not a photographer. She's just a friend who will grab my iPhone for me. So y'all get yourself a friend who will grab your iPhone for you. And until you find one of those friends, throw your phone at somebody and tell them to take a picture. It does not make you vain. It doesn't make you shallow. This is your business. So if you're going to have a business where you use social media to promote your business, you're going to have to take a photo and you're going to have to ask somebody to take one sometime because selfies only go for so long. Okay. So anyways, loved this one. I think a lot of times we're taking photos, of us working out, and I loved, and y'all just go follow her because she actually has videos. I just took screenshots from the videos of the actual like differences in posing. But she talks about like, this one was one of my favorites because she talks about like how we all like, somebody will be like, all right, stand in front of, that lighthouse. And we all put our hand on our hip and we all kind of cock our head to the side and we have 400 photos of us standing like this. And so all she's saying is use what's around you. Use the rail post, put your leg up, create angles. Her big thing is triangles. And you'll see that a lot in her posts. So creating a triangle shape with your legs or your body or your arms does a lot in the photo to make it really, really beautiful. So this one, you guys know I harp on y'all all the time and I harp on myself. And it's because it took me a really long time to change this. But this is literally the exact same thing facing a different direction. It's the difference between I don't know what this is. This is like room spray. I don't know why I grabbed that and not my phone that's sitting right there. It's the difference between this and this. All you're doing is turning around. So the light is facing your face. Changes the photo dramatically. So be sure that you're standing in front of, like with the light. I don't want to say in front of the window or in front of the light because this is technically standing in front of the light. Have the light, have the window pointed at your face. You will get much, much, much better photos that way. So anyways, go follow her. She's amazing. She don't know me from anybody. I randomly found her through Reels, started following her. Freaking gold mine of information. So go follow her, love on her stuff. follow her advice, be coachable. Okay. All right. So let me check the chat one more time before we move on. I need to learn these photo secrets. Then go follow Bonnie. I'm telling you, that's all you got to do. Um, and take photos and a lot of them. Like, don't be afraid to take 50 of them. Okay, so let's talk about running a kick-ass challenge group, you guys. Like I said at the beginning of this call, I apologize. We were supposed to have a guest speaker, but she canceled last minute this morning. And so we're going to have a guest speaker next month instead, which I'm really excited about. But this is something that, like I said, it kind of spurred on from a couple of different conversations with different coaches this week, some of which are considering starting their own boot camp, some of which are running their boot camp and they don't feel like it's going the way they want it to go, some of which are in my boot camp, in their uplines boot camp, and they don't really feel like they're getting the best experience out of it. Maybe I don't know that that's the right word, but like they aren't using it, they don't know how to use it to grow a business, that kind of thing. And then some of the people I've chatted with, like I said, they're running a boot camp, but it really isn't going the way they wanted to. So I want to give you a very, very easy way to do this because it's not hard. We make it so much harder than it is. And so if this is something that you want to be doing, running your own group, I wholeheartedly support that and endorse it, but it's going to come with a disclaimer. And I feel like everybody has to learn the hard way how to do things. I did. And I'll tell you before we start, I'll actually tell you guys my story of running my own boot camp so that you understand where I'm coming from. Because, like I said, I've been doing this for 7 years. It'll be 7 years in November. November was when I started my very first group. And I say started my own group. I need to back up and tell you guys that I did not start my own group in the beginning. I was in as a challenger. My coach, her name was Erica, my coach's group for probably about 6 months. And then she asked me to co-host the group with her. And I co-hosted that group for a little over 2 years with her. She decided to step away from the business. She's a software startup, like guru genius. And so she needed to divert all of her attention to her startup company, which is great. Very proud of her and all of the things she's doing. But at that point in time, I was left with a decision to make. Do I want to find Jackie, find Meredith, and join their group and continue to be a challenger who also invites to their group? Or do I want to do this as a business? Do I want to grow something that isn't just a hobby? And like I said, I've told you guys 100,000 times, there is nothing wrong with a hobby. But I also know there are those of you that want to do this as more than a hobby. And so I want to equip you and empower you to do that really well. I did not do that well for a while. Like I was saying at the beginning of this call, Michelle King kind of came in about midway. What year was that? So that would have been, we moved here in 19. So Michelle came in 2018. So in 2018, at the very beginning of the year, this was when Erica decided to step out of the business, had the hard decision to make, made the decision. So it was really probably, she stepped out like at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018. And it was really until like August of that year. So like 8 months, I ran a really, and I'm going to use some language today. So sorry, like put your earphones in or something. A really, really shitty group. I was not doing my clients a good service. I was not being a good coach. I was not, and it wasn't that I wasn't hitting success clubs, because let me tell you, I was still hitting success club at this time period. I was bringing people on, but I was not living up to the kind of coach I desired to be. And so I had to take a couple of hard looks and really become coachable about what I wanted to do. So I spent all of 2018 and the beginning of 2019 with the sole goal of making my challenge group the most kick-ass challenge group that I could possibly make it. That was my goal. And I, granted, I'm probably a little biased, but I happen to believe that our challenge group is freaking fantastic. Every single night I sit down for accountability and I'm there answering 30 people or more. Guys, that's what I wanted for. That's what I prayed for. That's what I wanted. That's what I want for you guys if that's what you want. I want a challenge group where people are showing up and asking questions and getting on the live videos and sharing their hard times and sharing their joy. I want that because that is what makes a really, really good team. That is a giant reason behind why Team Nourished is an elite team, is because it is a byproduct that came out of that group. Um, Granted, there's a lot more that goes into it than that, but if that group was not the way it is, we would not be an elite team. I can promise you that. It would not be worth inviting to. And so, what I want to help you, empower you to do is to create a group or participate in a group in a way that makes it worth inviting to. Because if you aren't excited to invite to it, nobody wants to join you. Okay. So that's what I want to preface all of that with saying. Okay. Back to the screen share. Okay. So running a kick-ass challenge group before you start, this is before you decide you're going to have a group, you need to have two things. You need to have a group name. It doesn't have to be, I say a group name. It doesn't have to be Team Nourish Virtual Bootcamp Wellness Studio, blah, 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 challenge group. It doesn't have to be that. You got to have some kind of name. There are lots of ways to run a group. I've run a group in a lot of different ways. I've run a group that is continuous, meaning the group content never stops. There's never a start date. There's never an end date. That didn't work for me. I need to have a start date and an end date. To me, that is how I measure my clients' progress. If it is just ongoing forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, I feel like I don't have as much control over monitoring people's progress. So have a name. Ours, I haven't even looked at what our April one's name is because I need to start putting it out, but I think it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but we have an April boot camp. For the love of God, you can call it your April boot camp. You don't even have to have a catchy name. I suck at catchy names. You can call it a boot camp. You can call it a challenge group. You can call it a wellness studio. You can call it whatever the heck you want to call it. But have a name and call it that consistently. Because what happens is people start, this doesn't happen immediately, but when you use consistency in this area, people know to come to you and ask you about this. They'll say, Danielle, can you tell me more about your boot camp? Danielle, can you tell me more about your accountability group? Danielle, what is that? I don't know, I don't even know what our March one is called. Is that terrible? What is our March one called? I keep wanting to say let us pray, and that's not right. Let us fuel our bodies, the March boot camp. People, because you use the same name, people start using that name too. People mimic what you do. Most of the time, I don't get people, well, and I'll tell you this right out the gate. I hate using the word challenge group. Nobody knows what a challenge group is, you guys. When you say virtual boot camp or online boot camp or just using the word boot camp, people know what that is. So that's why I chose that. People understand it. It works really well for me. Again, you can use whatever you want. Have a name, set a start date. What works really well for me is the first Monday of every month. I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. I'm just going to tell you that success leaves clues. And I've been in Success Club for over 55 months in a row. So obviously something I'm doing is working, not to be egotistical about it, but something I'm doing is working. So you might try my formula and see if it works for you. So have a start date. Like I said, mine starts the first Monday of the month and it ends the Friday before that. So mine like I said, it will start April the 5th and it ends April the 2nd. I use that weekend as a reset weekend. I clean out the group. I get rid of the people who have not purchased after their 30 days. I do a lot of admin stuff in that weekend. So anyways, that I wanted to give you that. You need to have those two things so that you can invite. People get really hung up on inviting. And they're like, I don't know how to invite. And I don't know how to do this. Well, it's probably because you don't have a name or a start date. Number one, you don't know what you're inviting to. So you have to have something specific with a time urgency to invite people to. It's just a marketing psychology thing. If it's always ongoing, people, there's no urgency for anybody to join. They think, well, I'll do it when the kids aren't on spring break. Well, I'll do it when summer starts. Well, I'll do it when school starts back up. Well, I'll do it at the first of the year. They keep putting it off and putting it off because there's no urgency to it. And having a date really gives you power in inviting. Hey, we kick off our boot camp April the 5th. Is this something that you want more information on? It gives them a deadline. It works really well. Okay. Set expectations. So now you've invited people. They've said yes. You've sold them the challenge pack. Now what? Set expectations. This is one of the number one things that I did that changed the game in my challenge group. They get a welcome email from me that has a set of expectations. It has expectations that they can expect of me and that I expect of them. Having that written out, and I'm going to tell you guys, you can't just write it in the email and expect people. Sorry, I think there's like allergy stuff going on. My throat is very like scratchy. They can't just have it said to them one time. It doesn't work that way. Send the same, last time I'll say it, the same expectations in the welcome email, your welcome video in the group, and in a static post that is pinned in the announcements. Those set of expectations, when you reiterate those things over and over and over, you're teaching people how to show up. Remember, when somebody comes into your boot camp, into your wellness studio, they don't know what to do. You have to tell them what to do. You have to be the boss of the group. They signed up with you because they think you are some version of an expert on this. And if you welcome them in, you're like, I don't know, you just come in. They don't know what to do. You have to tell them. So I send a welcome email. Excuse me, every single person gets that welcome email when they come in, whether they come in as a coach or a client, doesn't matter. Everybody gets the same welcome email. In the very top of it, it says what I expect of you, what you can expect of me. Those are the same expectations. Like I said, I always reiterate in my welcome video, the same expectations I put in the post. That way, when somebody hasn't been checking in with accountability for a week and a half, and I come to them and I'm like, hey girl, haven't seen you in accountability in a week and a half. They aren't like, oh my God, I didn't know I had to do accountability. Yes, you do. It's in the expectation set right out the gate. I'm not going to tell you what to expect of your people. I can show you my example, and you're welcome to follow that. But like for me, my expectation is that you will show up in nightly accountability every single night, not because I want some kind of glory or validation in that. It's because that's how I can coach you. When I don't see what you're eating and I don't see what you're doing for a workout, I can't coach you. So nightly accountability is how I do that. I say that in my expectations. So be sure you set expectations. Set expectations for your group. In my group, I do require people have a purchase every 30 days of 50 PV or more. That means that's either 3 boxes of beach bars, a performance stack, so energize and recover, or Shakeology every 30 days. I also give people an option, and I would encourage you guys not to do this unless you have some kind of certification. I give people an option after their enrollment. If they choose not to continue with the supplement, I just raised my price for the boot camp to $55 a month. So if they don't want to pay for Shakeology and they don't see the benefit in it, and they don't see the benefit in the pre and post workout, I have a PayPal account set up where they PayPal me $55 a month to be in that group. That's how I get paid to do the group. Here's the deal though. And this is what I really want to be very specific about. You don't get the privilege or the honor or the authority to ask someone for money for your group if you aren't creating a group worth asking people to pay for. If all you're doing is showing up half-ass in that group and you're throwing up some posts that you found on social media and you're checking in every 3 or 4 days, and sometimes you do a video, and maybe sometimes you'll throw a recipe in there, don't you dare ask someone to purchase that. That is a free group. My group is not a free group. You get a meal plan. You get my daily support in there. You get our entire team encouraging you and, you know, throwing you confetti when you're celebrating and giving you ideas. You get the weekly videos that I've been doing in there on nutrition principles. You get all of that, not for free. That's why I get to charge that. That's why you get to charge that, because you can do the exact same things I'm doing. It is not because of my degree in nutrition that I can go in there and write, "Great job, you did awesome on your nutrition today." That has nothing to do with nutrition. That's no different than me watching the or the ultimate portion fix videos or the to be mindset principles and understanding them and reinforcing them. That doesn't take a degree. It doesn't take a certification. It takes me showing up nightly and that commitment. So set the expectation for your group, like I said, what you want them to do and how they stay in the group. I've done it before where all you've had to do is purchase the initial challenge pack and you don't ever have to purchase anything again. It's fine. That wasn't fine for me anymore. I know my value and I know what I am worth as a coach. And so that's why I require that. I'm not going to tell you you have to do that. Everybody does it differently. Okay. So you set the expectations. Next, content. What do you post in the group? So there are several ways to do this. I have done all three of these ways. You can purchase content. There are several companies that sell boot camp content or challenge group content. You can use the free content from the Beachbody library. I personally purchase two different sets of content just because sometimes I don't like one, and sometimes I like the other, and sometimes I like to mix and match them. But I purchase those. And so the content that is in our group right now is stuff that I purchase. I go in and tweak it. It gives me the freedom, because I used to make my own content, to not have to come up with new content all the time. After 7 years, I can pay for content. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's a great investment in our business. And it humbles me to remember that I'm not the be all end all know all of content. There are people that make really great content. So it's a worthy business investment for me. You don't have to do that. I actually provide you with team content. We have a Team Nourished Google Drive that has over a year worth of content in it that you can literally go April, click, click, open. Every post from my April group from 2019 is in that thing. You can use it as your own. It has the photos, it has the verbiage, it has all of it. It has my nightly accountability post in it. It is free. It is a free resource that I have given to our team. You are welcome to use it. Or you can make your own. Like I said, I made my own for a really long time. I'm not gonna lie, it gets exhausting after a while to make your own. It was fun for a while. I found a lot of joy in it, and then I didn't. So it's up to you. Make your own content, use our team content, or purchase content. Like I said, the ones that I use for purchase are a company called Pixel and Hue. And then there's another company called Momtrepreneur. And I know several of the coaches on our team use that content in their group. So be sure you're using that content, and if you purchase something, let me put this disclaimer in here. If you purchase something, use it. Do not let that money go to waste. They also do Instagram stories that are all branded. I get people all the time. They're like, "Oh my God, I love your Instagram stories about your boot camp. I want those." I'm like, guess what? I paid $8.50 for them. That saves me so much time not creating that. So is your business worth $8.50 every month, even if you don't buy their real package of content? Abso-freaking-lutely it is. So it's my little plug for that. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let's go back. Content. I forgot to put this stuff in there. Schedule your content. Schedule your content. I feel like in the Bible, the Lord says things 3 times, right? So I'm going to tell you things 3 times because they are important. Schedule your content. Facebook allows you to schedule in advance posts. Schedule them. Do not think that you are above the Lord and that you can every single day wake up at 5 a.m. and post new, fresh content with your non energized brain. You might do it for a couple of days. And then your kid's going to wake up and you're going to forget, and it's going to be noon, or it's going to be 3, or it's going to be the next day. That's how people screw themselves over with this. Schedule your content. I take some time on Saturday in the afternoon and I put, or the morning, depending on what we're doing for the day. Sometimes it's Saturday evening while we're watching a movie, and I put together all the content for the entire next week and I schedule it out, or really my assistant does. But prior to having an assistant, I scheduled out all of that content. It takes less than an hour, you guys, especially if you're purchasing content. It probably takes you 15 minutes and you don't have to think about it all week. Do it. You can do it for 2 weeks if you want, whatever you want to do. Okay. So you've scheduled your content. Now what? Be the absolute best challenger in that group. Here's my other like preachy preach here. Don't invite someone into a group you are not willing and ask them to do things that you are not doing. I will never ask my challengers to post their nightly accountability if I'm not posting my nightly accountability. I will never ask my challengers to post sweaty selfies when I am not posting sweaty selfies. I'm not going to ask them to do things that I'm not doing. It's poor leadership, you guys. Don't run a group if you are not willing to do what you're asking your people to do. That group is just as much for my own accountability as it is to hold other people accountable. I want to show them how to do this well. So I'm going to show up as the best challenger in that group. So if you have a challenge group and people are not showing up and people are not doing the things you want them to do, you need to self-evaluate. You need to look and see if you are doing the things you're asking them to do consistently, not once a week. So participate like it's your job, because it is. If someone paid you if they bought a challenge pack from you and you aren't running your group like it's your job, that would be like you paying for your dentist and he coming in and being like, yeah, looks good, brush teeth, go on. No, I paid you to clean my teeth. Now clean my teeth. I mean, I would never go to that dentist again. So don't be surprised if that's the way you show up in your challenge group and people leave and they don't continue in it. You have to participate like it's your job. And the other thing that I will remind you guys, this was reminded to me several years ago because I was complaining about people not showing up. Challenged, well, I show up and the people they don't do what they're supposed to do, and they don't do the accountability, and they don't respond to the posts, and they don't do this and they don't do that. It is not your job to make them show up. It is your job to show up. And I think of it again because we are service providers. If I was a therapist, if I was a dentist, if I was a doctor, it is not my job to make my patient come to me. It is my job to be in that office when the patient shows up for their appointment. That's what I'm getting paid for. I'm getting paid whether they're coming or not. So I want you guys to understand that your presence in that boot camp is vital to the people that you invited in there. What does it mean to participate like it's your job? Do your workout, eat on your meal plan, show up in nightly accountability, participate, share a recipe, do the things that the post is encouraging you to do. That's what it is. And I hear a lot of, well, I don't have time. Well, then you're not taking the time to do the things that you wanted to do to begin with, right? Like, again, I get a lot of people, they're like, well, I don't have time to do that. But then they invite someone into the boot camp. And then that person says, well, I don't have time to do that. And they're like, well, I don't understand. They keep saying they don't have time. I'm like, well, you make time, right? Like, it doesn't take but 15 minutes to do your accountability and to check into the group. I'm not asking you to be in there all day long and just like write Sally on top of everything. If you checked into your boot camp one time a day and responded to every single person, I promise you it changes the dynamic. Um, and I will tell you my personal belief with accountability is that every single person that responds to nightly accountability should get some kind of response from me. It doesn't take a lot. I don't need to like have these big, deep, thought out, long paragraphs. Sometimes all it takes is just an encouraging word. Good job. Keep showing up. You're doing great. People just need to see that reinforcement. They need to be seen. That's why they're in this group. So, and then add value. If you see a great recipe, and this is something that I would encourage you guys to do, especially if you're running your own groups. And I have a girl in my group. Hold on, my poor voice is going away. I have a girl in my group. I saw her on Instagram sharing, it was Linda, sharing about chia seed recipes. They looked amazing. She didn't post that in our group. I texted her and say, or not texted her, but I responded to her Instagram and was like, hey, can you go share that in our boot camp? Don't be afraid to tell people what you want from them or ask them, don't tell them, but ask them, hey, can you go share that? That's an amazing post. I see people sharing their wins and I'm like, no, 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 sister, go share that in our group too. You need to shout that out because that I'm trying to create a community, a hub where people innately go share those things, but they don't do that without me telling them to do it. So you're not micromanaging if you see one of your clients sharing something on Instagram that you think the group would benefit from. Ask them to go share it in the group because they don't know. Okay, so you're doing all of that. Now what? Celebrate the hell out of those women. Cheer for them, clap for them, make them boot camper of the week, send them a little gift, ask them for a testimonial, celebrate those wins, shout them out. You guys, that is the thing that is lacking in so many people's lives. And I would say women specifically, and moms even more specifically, do not feel like they're seen. I talk to women all day long. And the number one thing I hear is nobody sees what I'm doing anyway. What does it matter? Like my kids don't notice that I've folded and put away their laundry. My husband doesn't notice that I've cleaned the kitchen again tonight. My best friend didn't notice my haircut. They think that they are invisible. Make them know that they are not. Help them remember that they are seen, that they are celebrated. So if that means you pick one of them and put their picture up and like put it on your social media and blast them out. Like that's something I really need to remind myself to do better is not just put the boot camp or the week in the group, put it on your own personal social media too. Shout them out, tag them. And it doesn't mean they have to be losing 100 pounds. They could be just making one better choice than they did the week before. Acknowledge them, celebrate them. It is part of our 4 vital behaviors to celebrate people. Make it a culture of celebrating wins. That makes people want to be there. When they feel seen, they feel like they belong. And that's the culture of the groups that I want Team Nourish to be famous for. So, and then this is the last little thing, and then I'll open it up for questions. Continue to add new people every month or the momentum dies. This is a hard pill to swallow, you guys, but if you are not helping 3 or more people enroll in your boot camp every single month, the momentum dies. Go look at the number of people in our boot camp. And the number of people in our boot camp right now is a reflection of the people who are ordering every month, because I have my assistant go in and clean it out, because if they have not ordered in the last 30 days, they aren't in that group anymore. And if they slip by, then they slip by for a month and then they get a message and da 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 da, right? I'm telling you, if you don't enroll 3 or more people every month, your momentum will die. Take it from somebody who's been there. Take it from, I probably have that conversation with every single coach in this. They come to me and they're like, my boot camp isn't, nobody's in there. And I'm like, okay, well, how many people did you add last month? None. What about the month before? 1. What about the month before? None. So you're telling me in 3 months, you put one new person in there and you're expecting that one person to carry the energy of the entire group? It doesn't work like that, guys. This is a business of numbers. It is a business of people, but it is a business of numbers. And if you do, you cannot exist in the same group of 4 people forever. And I'll kind of throw this in there because this is kind of reflective of some conversations that I've been having with other coaches on this team, and not just this team but other teams as well. When is the right time to leave the nest? Because I think that that is something that people get tripped up on. They're like, well, I'm afraid to leave Danielle's group, or I'm afraid to leave Amanda's group or Carrie's group or whatever and start my own group. It goes back to the beginning of when I was talking about my journey with this. I will never kick you out of our group. I love the energy. I love the momentum. I love having lots of people to respond to every single night. But here's what typically happens. You start getting lazy, and you start, especially if you're building a business. I am going to address people building a business versus just hobby. If you're just hobby, don't worry about starting your own group. It's not that big of a deal. Just stay and enjoy it. Use the group. But if you want to do this as a business and you want to see it grow like a business, meaning every month your income is increasing, all your team is growing, all of that. When you stay in your coach's group, it typically means that you are scared to go out on your own, because you are scared to realize that it now falls on you to fill that group. Because what happens in my group, if Michelle, I'm going to throw you under the bus here since you and I had this conversation earlier this week. What happens if you sell 0 challenge packs in a month? Does the boot camp energy lag? No, it doesn't, because I'm going to run my group no matter what. So if you don't ever leave the nest, there's never any pressure to continue to add people. If you add 3 people in a month, it's like, yay, good for us, we're growing. But if you don't, it's kind of like, oh, well, nothing bad happened. The lights in my house didn't turn off. When you run your own group and you slack for an entire month and you don't invite anybody, and you don't, for dramatic's sake, the lights in your house turn off because nobody else is propping up the income anymore. And so that was the reality that I was faced with back at the end of 2017, 2018, because while I might have been pretty consistent with Success Club, I had no hustle. There was no hustle and no fire in my bones about this, because I knew that if I didn't invite people into the group, Erica would fill the group, no big deal. When it was no longer Erica filling the group, I had to rise. And so either you're going to rise or you're not. And that is one of those things where it's a gut check for you. And my guess is, if you've hung out with our team long enough, you're going to rise. You have and I'm not just talking to you, Michelle, but I'm talking to everybody. You have the support, you know the things to do, but you have that new difference in the why you've got to take care of this. It's like the end of the month and you're like, oh crap, I haven't enrolled anybody. My group's energy is going to continue to shrink. And again, it's not the end of the world not to enroll 3 people, but if month after month after month after month go by, you're going to notice that decline, and it gets sharp and it gets steep real quick. So that's my little soapbox on that. And that's it. So we have a few minutes for questions. Does anybody feel brave and want to unmute themselves? Let me check this. Oh, Jamie had to get off. No problem. That's me right now. Success Club is so important. Oh, sorry. Maury had to go. So, okay. Does anybody have any questions? Reflections, feedback?
I just want to say, get out of the nest. I think, I hung out in your group for 2 years because I don't like to fail at things. And I knew that if I went out, there would be a chance for failure, but there's also a chance for growth. And so I think just do it. Just get out of the nest and do it. I was talking to Danielle today. The one reason I got out of her group is because Cece was like, if you build it, they will come. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try that. And so I got on Facebook, I set up a group, and then I went from there, and that was 2 years ago. And then
I'm in the exact same right now, like, because I've been in Danielle's group for almost 2.5 years, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to leave.
and you're like, oh, this is
Well,
fun.
and I'll tell you guys the same thing I told Michelle. I don't want you to go. Like, I kind of love that no matter, because, and Michelle, you probably experienced, there were months in the beginning of when you were there where sometimes, girl, it was me and you. Like, it was me
Yeah.
and you. And to see where that group has grown is incredible. So let me tell you, it does cause me micro panic if you were to leave the nest and take all of your amazing, consistent challengers with you. I'm like, well, crap, who's going to be left in here? But again, I can panic and think that I'm going to fail. But again, because it's my group, I know I'm going to rise. I know it's only going to cause me to level up. I know it will only cause you to level up. But it has to be when you're ready to do it. And just know, and like I said, you probably felt like this call was maybe pointed at you. It really, really wasn't. Amanda and I had this exact conversation. Renee and I have had this conversation. I know Amy and I have had this conversation. Kendall has a question. I'll get to that in just a second. I've had this conversation with lots and lots and lots of coaches. I have coaches who have left the nest, have decided that they do not want to build a business, and have come back to the nest. That's okay. It's fine. It doesn't mean you failed. It just means you need a different level of support right now. And I think that's where people are like, oh my God. But as the mama bird here, I probably will let you flail more than you're comfortable with. Because like I was telling Amanda today, there is a phenomenon in mindset coaching where you have to feel the pain in order to move and to grow. Nobody is comfortable and you're like, this is amazing. And you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I just love this comfortable. And you're like, I should get up and challenge myself and make myself horribly uncomfortable because I just haven't grown in a while. Like, most people don't do that. Most people grow because they got uncomfortable. And in mindset coaching, there is a real benefit to letting people feel the uncomfortableness and feel the pain of their situation. And so even when you're coaching your clients in your group, the easy thing to do is to pat them on the head. And we talked about this about one of your people, Michelle. You had reached out to me because she just really was struggling. And it's like, you got to let her sit in her crap sometime. You got to let her feel uncomfortable and feel the pain of where she is so that it will spur her to action and to move. Because if all you're ever doing is patting them on the head and telling them, it's okay, I know today was stressful and that ice cream just tasted too good, it's all right. Like, there's a difference between pacifying somebody and showing them grace. Grace is one of those things where it's like, the nest is here, the resources are here, I'm going to support you, but you're also going to learn to fly in this. And that's a really beautiful thing. And so I think both visuals work in this, in that as a customer, you need to feel the pain of maybe your weight gain or your laziness in your workouts so that you are like, nope, we got to move because I don't like the way this feels. Same thing in coaching. If all I ever did was be like, you're doing great, you're doing great, you're doing great, you're doing great, even though you're really not doing great. How is me lying to you making you better? It's just making you feel like everything's great. It's not about beating somebody up in the process, but it is about letting them feel the weight of their inaction or their actions. So Amy had to hop off.
Michelle.
Yeah, go ahead.
Michelle, this is what I would say. So I did accountability groups for a long time. And I'm like Danielle, I would just kind of keep coming back to various accountability groups throughout my process until I found Danielle's group through Kim. And so I did Danielle's for about a year before I decided that I was actually going to go in all board with coaching. And Danielle was like, if you want to build your business, you need to consider starting your own boot camp. So that's what I did. But I'm still in Danielle's boot camp. I don't check in nightly in Danielle's boot camp unless I have a challenger in her boot camp. So like when my sister-in-law started with me, she was like, I don't want to be with other people that I know. Like she was
Mm.
like, I don't want to be with other people that I know. So I was like, can I put you in my uplines group and I will, check in there. So when I have a challenger in Danielle's group, then I participate in Danielle's group and I
Yeah.
comment underneath her comments. If they don't participate in her group, I stay in Danielle's group because sometimes I will take something out of Danielle's group if there's like a recipe or something is shared, and then I may put it into like a post of mine and be like, hey, this was shared in my uplines group, and I just want you all to have that too, So I use it kind of both ways. And then
Okay.
I just started buying content just a couple months ago, and I've been coaching now for a year. So like I didn't do it right away either. And what I was finding was that it was hard for me to create my own content. So like in the morning, I would try to get up at 5 a.m., copy and paste Danielle's post, and then put it into my boot camp because I didn't know what to say that day, or I didn't have anything planned. So that was really stressful. Like Danielle was saying, it was stressful and it wasn't fun for me. So having bought the content, I found to be, again, super helpful. You could schedule them out in advance. You don't, once it's done, and then I go in every morning and read it with the next person, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I do it. So that might be helpful for you. You know what I mean? Is that like, if you have somebody that doesn't want to be with people that they know, they can always join Danielle's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
they can stay in yours. I also have some people that are in my boot camp and do not participate, but they'll send me like a morning screenshot every day in my messenger group of like their workout or whatever. I have like terrible lighting right now. I'm sorry. And so then I will respond to them on that message. Like, that's awesome. You look great, or, if they like said like, oh my gosh, I was able to do X, Y, and Z. I pat them on the back, if they're struggling with something, so on and so forth. At the beginning of the month, I'll be like, hey, what are your goals for the month? That kind of thing. So even if they're not necessarily participating, they like to read the messages. So that's why they're
Yeah.
in my boot camp, but yet they want it more individualized. So I try to meet them both ways, but they also know that I may not always like be fully responsive because I put more into my boot camp.
Right.
If
And that's,
that's
I was going to say,
understanding.
yeah, no. And Renee, I think that that's really helpful advice too, because you are going to encounter people that, again, if you go look at of the numbers of my group, we have 115 people in there right now. I don't have 115 nightly accountability, but every single one of those people is engaged in some way. Whether that's, some of them are just in there for, like Renee said, they just want to know that the support system's there. They don't want to check in nightly for accountability. That's fine. They just also know, because of the set of expectations, that they're not going to get my attention. And I don't know how to support them if they aren't, because then they're going to come to me and they're like, oh, I'm not getting results. And I'm like, oh, let's look at your nightly accountability. And they're like, oh, I don't log any. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? I'm not there with you at dinner time. So the big thing there, the big lesson is teach people how you want to be treated. And I think that lesson supersedes all coaching things in general, but teach people how you want to be treated. So if you don't want individual messages, don't let them give you individual messages. Say, you can go post that in the group. I try to keep everything in there. It doesn't mean anything bad. I do want to answer Kendall's question because I know she usually has to get off right at, and it's getting late East Coast time. She asked, do you run your Facebook group the same as your bod group? Yes and no. All of the same content, the daily posts, the nightly accountability, all of that is in the bod group. I think there might be like one person sometimes that participates that way. I do go in there 3 times a week. I have it just set on my calendar, like check bod group. And I'm like, oh crap. Okay, I'll go check my bod group. And I interact with everybody in there. But every single person in that bod group knows that I am most present in the Facebook group. So my lives are only in the Facebook group. Because I can't upload the meal plans, they're too big to upload to the bod group. The meal plans aren't in there. So they just know that that's more of a check-in spot versus a daily coaching spot. And that's just because, again, I've run it on there for 7 years, and I would have to retrain myself to check something new too. But all the same information is in both groups, if that answers your question, Kendall. And do I run my Facebook group? I will say I don't keep up with people purchasing in the Facebook group or the bod group. But again, they aren't getting what the people in the Facebook group are getting. They aren't getting live videos. They're not getting all the same attention every single day. If they posted in there every day and the dynamic changed, I might change my rules on that. But right now, I'm not doing enough in there to warrant charging anybody for anything in that group. So they can log, they can do whatever they want. I'm going to check in a couple of times a week and encourage and love on them, but I'm not doing it every day because I'm not getting paid to do it every day. Hopefully that answers. Yes, you said okay, thanks. All right. Any other questions or anything before we head out? I know it's getting late East Coast because you guys are with our new time change. Just know that from now on it is 8 p.m. Eastern, or I'm did it again, 9 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern. I hate time change. It is the worst. Anything else? Oh, and I did put if you want to copy paste the link for the Google Drive, I did put that in the comments here. I'm happy to share it in our team page as well. But again, all of that content is y'all's. Feel free. It's like I said, it's not quite as pretty as the stuff that I'm doing now, because the stuff that I'm doing now, I'm paying for it to be pretty. Everything in this Google Drive is my own content. So, and Renee, I was going to kind of piggyback on what you had to say. I'm also in Meredith's group, and I'm also in Jackie's group. I don't participate. I don't get notifications from the group, but sometimes when I need a different level of support in my own journey, I might participate more in those. But again, I think at this point, it's more for individual one-off support versus like my personal journey sucks, my business journey sucks, blah, 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 blah. I'm just at a different point where the momentum has built now that, I have such a wonderful team that I lean on you guys for support too. Like I lean on my challenge group for support. I am honest with my challenge group. I don't bullshit and tell everybody that I'm doing amazing, great things when I'm not. If I'm struggling, I tell my challenge group I'm struggling. There's a lot of power in vulnerability and people feeling that you are in the thick of it with them. So, all right. Anything else, you guys? All right, we'll go out and do great things. I love you guys, and I will see everybody either on the Business of Coaching call Monday night, or the Sean T call Tuesday night, or on the team call Thursday. Next week, I'm going to see you guys a lot, hopefully. So, all right.
I do have a question. Can you add I don't know how easy it is, so I don't want you to do it if it's too much work, but could you add a reminder text for the Shanti?
Yes. Guess the text. Did you get the text?
Yeah.
And
actually it was really good because I was going into a work meeting and I was like, oh yeah, I got to tell them I need to leave at 7:45. I still didn't get on right away, but I was like, oh, I got to go. Sorry, I'm leaving early. So it was helpful.
So glad. I'm so excited about texting. I was talking to some other coaches and they're like, ooh, I don't like it when people text me. I'm like, oh my God, texting is the best way to get my attention. If you need to talk to me immediately, text me, because I pay attention to my text far more than I pay attention to an email or to a post in a Facebook group. Texts get my attention. So I was excited to be able to offer you guys that. So yes, Sean T, you'll get a text about the Business of Coaching. I will do my best not to blow up the texting because I feel like I could really get excited and I'm not. Okay. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you soon. Love you guys. Bye.